Om Sarvadharma Sthapakastam Sarvadharma Swarupakah Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishna Te Namaha. We are studying Sri Ramakrishna, the Great Master, as the spiritual teacher, second part. But the spiritual teacher has merged into the divine. And we are reading Gopala's mother's life. And we have already seen how she got the fulfillment of her 30 years of sadhana only within 2 months of meeting Thakur. And now Thakur has come to Balram Babu's house for the return chariot. And so about all the women devotees, Balram's relatives and neighbors, about them, they could understand, they could feel, or they could experience Thakur as incarnation, Thakur as God himself. 2-3 levels he has told. Some of them believed that he is incarnation, and some actually realized that he is incarnation. And their behavior with him was more than one's own. And Thakur also could judge their spiritual heights. And about somebody he said that she is a perfected gopi by God's grace, about whom that we have not understood. Maybe Yogidma. And about some, he said, she is a cook of Vaikuntha. That means her normal residence is in Vaikuntha. She has, just like God incarnates, the people who occupy the high spheres, they also come as associates of God. And so, she is the cook of Vaikuntha. And she has a perfect hand in cooking Shukta. Now the non-Bengali should know what is Shukta. Yesterday we explained that soup was jhol. Now, usual custom among many ashramas, many houses, is that they cook jhol every day. On Sunday or once a week or so, they do not cook jhol, they cook Shukta. So Shukta has a bitter taste. But it does not appear bitter. It has a bitter is present there. Either bitter gourd or some bodies, something to make it bitter. And it has little of, say, other ingredients which makes it rather sweet. And that is generally used in place of jhol. So, that is the custom among Bengalis in general, both households and our ashramas. So, this is the, otherwise it is a liquid vegetable, and that is taken in the beginning of the meals. According to the Bengali custom, any bitter thing is taken as the first item of the meals. So, that is Sukta. And she is Sukto Siddhasta, not only of this loka, but of Vaikuntha. Now we come to para 10, because we are interested in Gopala's mother. And all these were in Purvakatha. The master spoke of Gopala's mother's vision to the women devotees and sent for her. So Thakur had the desire that everybody should see Gopala's mother. And because in Balram's house, many lady devotees have assembled, and men also. He told them about Gopala's mother and asked them to bring her. Because he was to stay there 2 days. While he was taking refreshments, we have seen that in the last para, they have taken him to inner apartments for giving refreshments. While he was taking refreshments, the master spoke of the good fortune of Gopala's mother to the lady devotee. That daughter of a Brahmin, that is a way to talk, Brahminer mein. Actually, meaning is that Brahmin girl, daughter of a Brahmin, said he affectionately to them, who comes from Kamarati, that is the specification, and who has motherly love for God as Gopala, has had various visions. She says that Gopala stretches his hand to take food from her. The other day, she came here, love intoxicated on account of experiencing many such things. Here means to Thakur, not in Balram's house. When she was fed, she became a little pacified. So Thakur had fed her that day. I asked her to stay for the night, but she did not. She was equally inebriated on her way back. The cloth on her person became loose and was being dragged along the ground. She had no consciousness of it. Then only I could drag her on the ground. I raised the cloth and passed my hand over her heart and head to calm her down a little. She has great devotion and she is very good. Why don't you send for her? Like that he talked. As soon as this reached Balram Babu's ears, he sent a man to bring Gopala's mother from Kamarati. For there was much time yet for coming. The master would be staying there for that day and the tomorrow. The master finished taking refreshments and came back to the outer apartment and was having various talks with the devotees. In the afternoon, that was talk in the morning. In the afternoon, the master became suddenly filled with the spirit of Gopala. And Gopala's mother arrived immediately after. Coincided almost. If she is coming, so Thakur assumes that. And that is Thakur's speciality, you have seen. For every devotee is what the devotee wants. Ye yathamam prapadyante, Krishna says. He says, but Thakur shows everything. Before long, the master's midday meal was finished. The devotees also took prasad. He took a little rest before he sat in the hall in the outer apartment and conversed with the devotees on various topics. When it was about to be dusk, the master was in ecstasy. All of us must have seen the metal image of the boy Gopala. It is in the posture of crawling, with this difference that its right hand is raised in the gesture of asking for some food, and its face is turned upwards, as if it is looking at the face of someone. You have seen, na? Balgopala? With wistful eyes, expressing delight and wanting something. All this is expression through his eyes. The master's body and limbs assumed exactly that posture under the influence of bhav. except for the two eyes, which remained in a half-shut, indrawn condition, not seeing anything outside. That is yogi's eyes. Not Urdu eyes, but semi-opened eyes. Immediately after the master's state of bhav began, the carriage carrying Gopala's mother arrived and stood at the gate of Balram Babu's house. And Gopala's mother came upstairs and saw the master in the form of her chosen ideal. The devotees understood that it was the devotion of Gopala's mother that had brought about the sudden infusion of the Gopal spirit into the master. That is him. Thakur as God and she is the devotee. And it is so strong that Thakur automatically appears like that. All those present there showed her great respect and reverence, thinking how very fortunate she was. All said, the wonderful devotion. The master assumed the form of Gopala himself on account of the urge of her devotion, and so on. Gopala's mother said, but I don't like such a stiff and rigid posture. Like a log of wood under the influence of bhava. My Gopala will laugh, play, walk and run. What is this? This stiff as wood posture? I don't want to see such a Gopala. On the day on which she first saw the master thus lose normal consciousness in ecstasy, she really became overwhelmed with fear and said, as she pushed the master's holy person, why are you in such a condition, my child? That happened when the master went to Kamarati for the first time. So today also like that. Whatever the master did under the influence of power looked beautiful, the reason. When we first went to the master, he was nearly 49 years old. Perhaps it was yet 5 or 6 months to his 49th year. Gopala's mother also went to him at that time. Before we met the master, our idea was that people would enjoy the artless dancing and gestures of a child, but that it would be nothing but ludicrous or disgusting to them when a grown-up, robust youth performs such antics. Swami Vivekananda used to say, doesn't appreciate a rhinoceros dancing a dancing girl's dance. But coming to the master, we had to change our opinions. Though he was advanced in age, the master danced, sang, made various gestures, and how sweet they were. We never dreamt, said Girish Babu. He was a dramatist. That a grown-up, robust youth looked so well when dancing. But how beautiful was the posture of his body and limbs under the influence of the infusion of the spirit of Gopala into him today and Balram Babu's house. We did not understand then why all this looked so beautiful. We only felt that they were beautiful and nothing more. We now understand that whenever any mood came on him, it came on fully, without the admixture of any other mood with it, and with no touch of insincerity or showing off. He was then completely inspired by or absorbed, or as he jokingly said, diluted in that mood. Thakur's word was diluted in English. It therefore could not at all strike in the minds of the people that a man of advanced age was acting as a boy or a woman, as a woman, as boy. The strong waves of bhava within burst out and completely changed his body or made it assume a different form altogether. So, body changes according to mind is so clearly seen in Thakur. And because it is 10%, it appears beautiful. And it is natural. The master came back to Dakshineshwar at the end of the festival. The master had spent 2 delightful days and nights in the company of the devotees at the house of Balram Babu. It was the third day and he was to return to Dakshineshwar. It was about 8 or 9 in the morning. A boat was ready at the ghat. Gopala's mother and another woman devotee, it was settled, should go by that boat to Dakshineshwar with the master and the devotee. Besides one or two boy devotees who had come with him for his service. Kali, Swami Vivekananda was perhaps one of them. The other might have been Latu. Going to the inner apartment, the master bowed down to Jagannath, received the salutations of the devotee family, went out and got into the boat. Gopala's mother and others also followed him there. Some members of Balram's family respectfully presented Gopala's mother with clothes, etc. And knowing that she was in need of a ladle, tongs for gripping hot cooking pots, and some other articles, they made presents of them to her. A bundle containing them was put in the boat. The boat started. The master was annoyed to see the bundle belonging to Gopala's mother. He was all love to the devotees, but was all discipline as well. Because the life should represent what is inside. She has achieved everything. But from outside in the life, no blemish should be there. While he was going by the boat, the master noticed the bundle and knew on inquiry that it belonged to Gopala's mother. As soon as the master heard that it was the bundle containing the thing given to her by the devotee family, his face assumed a serious attitude. Instead of addressing Gopala's mother, he began speaking on renunciation to the other woman devotee. Oh, now the name is given, Mother Golapma, not Yogini. One who is a person of renunciation said he realizes God. One who after taking one's food in people's houses comes away empty-handed, sits leaning against the body of the Divine Lord. So much he has the command over God, if he comes empty-handed. That is, can exert force, so to say, on the Lord because of his renunciation and dependence on him. And so, he talking to Golapma. The master did not speak a single word with Gopala's mother on the way that day and looked at the bundle now and then. Seeing that attitude of the master, Gopala's mother thought, let me throw the bundle into the water of the Ganga. The master used to joke, play and make merry with the devotees like a 5-year-old boy. But when it was necessary, he could be very strict with them. He could not put up with the slightest improper conduct on the part of any devotee. Nothing, not even the smallest thing escaped his keen eye. As soon as anyone behaved improperly, even in the slightest degree, his keen eye fell on him, and the latter at once put forth his best effort to correct himself. He did not always scold or like that. The master had not to make much effort either. For if he but looked stern and refrained from speaking with her for a while, one could feel restless and repent the fault committed. Because he had bound everything by love. So if he shows little less love, they understand. A word or two of scolding from the master's holy mouth were enough to set right. Those who had not corrected himself even with this. If only by looking serious and all that didn't understand, one or two words of scolding. The wonderful master's wonderful way of dealing with and his way of imparting instruction to each devotee were to occupy the heart of the devotees first by his divine selfless love. First he is capturing him and then explain just in a few words what was to be done. Gopala, so first by loving is capturing a person. And so a little instruction is given. Gopala's mother was pained by the master's expression of honor. The Holy Mother consoled her. You have the important point. As soon as she wanted to throw away, but she controlled. As soon as she reached Dakshineshwar, Gopala's mother anxiously went to the Holy Mother. Because Thakur is God for her, Holy Mother is also goddess for her. And said to her, "O daughter-in-law, Thakur is her child. So she is Thakur's wife. So she is daughter-in-law." That is how she used to address Holy Mother. "O daughter-in-law, Gopal has been angry to see this bundle. What is the remedy now? I think I should not take the articles with me, but distribute them here. Instead of throwing in the Ganges, she could distribute it for the people there." The supremely revered Holy Mother had boundless compassion. Seeing the old lady worried and pained, she consoled her and said, "Let him say so, mother. There is no one to give you these things. What will you do under the circumstances? Have you not brought these things only because you require them?" You understood this point? Is Holy Mother contradicting Thakur? By the result we shall see. If you need and somebody gives, you should take. But simply because somebody has given, you should not take. That is the main point here. In Belur Math, once I was there for some time, and Swami Mitrananda, Asansol month at that time, we were in the same room. And my slippers had perhaps broken, or I don't remember. So he took me to the market and purchased a new slipper for me. And our barber saw it. "So why you have brought this new slipper?" I said, "He gave me, so I accepted." He said, "One should not do like that." His name it took Narad. Somebody gave his daughter to Narad and Narad accepted. Then it was Maya for him. With great difficulty he had to be redeemed. That is what the barber told me. So simply because somebody gives, you take, that is not correct. If you need, you can also ask, or if they give, you should take. That is the sadhu life. And so Holy Mother is telling, she tells in her own way. You have accepted because you needed it. And who else will give you? You are not going to market to purchase. So the devotees who appreciate will give you. What she did then, she did not require all those things. Or we have seen that she required the ladle or thumb. So, in spite of what the Holy Mother told her, rather because the Holy Mother told her, Gopala's mother gave out of those articles one piece of cloth and one or two other things. Gave out, remaining retained. That means that is the effect. She understood what mother is saying. You have brought because you needed it. So those things you needed, keep. Those two you need not. So Holy Mother is not contradicting Thakur's instruction. She is complementing that. She is making it complete. Thakur has shown one side by looking at it. She wanted to throw in the Ganges. But as a practical thing, she thought she would distribute in Dakshineshwar. And one should not act without proper guidance. Now Thakur is angry, she thought. So she went to Holy Mother, another form of Thakur. And Holy Mother, anyway, if there is some speciality in Holy Mother, it is compassion. So she had compassion, but without contradicting Thakur, she says, you see, let him say so. Only Holy Mother could talk like that. Let him say so, mother. She is mother-in-law for her. So mother-in-law is addressed as mother. There is no one to give you these things. What will you do under the circumstances? Have you not brought these things only because you require them? In spite of what the Holy Mother told her, Gopala's mother gave out of those articles one piece of cloth and one or two other things. Then, harried with fear, she cooked with her own hand one or two curries and went to feed the master. The master, who knew all people's hearts, did not make any other remark when he saw her repented. He then treated her as before, speaking with her smilingly. Gopala's mother also was consoled, fed the master and returned to Kamarati in the evening. That is the Leela, teaching and all that. Since her first vision, Gopala's mother, as we said before, had been seeing the ideal form of Gopala for 2 months without a break. But this did not continue so afterwards. Let no one think on that account that after that period she had the vision of the form of Gopala only very rarely at long intervals. She saw him daily, time and again, whenever her heart wanted to see him. But 24 hours continuity stopped. Again, whenever anything had to be taught her, Gopala would suddenly appear before her and make her act accordingly, by signs or words or by doing things himself, thus showing her how to do them. That continues. Leela. Merging in the master's holy person again and again, Gopala taught her that he and the master were not different. He taught her how he should be served by asking her for things to eat and things to lie on. Chenna will go and tell Bhutto to make a pillow for you. Again, strolling together with some eminent devotee of Sri Ramakrishna or moving with them with especial intimacy in her presence, wonderful thing. He convinced her that he and they were not different, that the devotee and the divine were one. So with some devotees he showed identity by moving with them. Therefore, the hesitation she felt in eating things touched by them gradually vanished. Touched by them, those devotees, because she was very austere and orthodox. No? Yeah, taking salt also by washing it. But gradually the mind is becoming broad. She is not losing the discipline, but is seeing that Thakur is there in them. So that thing is going on. So it is an evolution. So transformation of consciousness and transfiguration of personality. Swamiji has defined religion as in various ways. Be and become. To be and to become. To be means realize God. And become means your character, life is changed with that. The nature of the visions of Gopala's mother after she was firmly convinced that the master was the chosen ideal. Since she became firmly convinced that Sri Ramakrishna was her chosen ideal, Gopala's mother did not very often have the vision of the form of Gopal. Instead, she had the vision of Sri Ramakrishna very frequently. And through his form, the divine Lord who assumed the form of Gopala taught her whatever was necessary. Deprived of the frequent visions of the form of Gopala in the beginning, she went to Sri Ramakrishna and said, weeping, "What have you done to me, Gopala? What fault have I committed? Why do I not have your vision in the form of Gopala as I used to have before?" She is talking to Thakuranji. And so on. Sri Ramakrishna replied, if in the Kali Yuga one has such visions continuously, one's body does not last. It lasts 21 days only and then falls off like a dry leaf. Gopala's mother used always to be under the influence of divine inebriation of Bhava for 2 months after having the first vision of Gopala. She did everything, cooking, bathing, taking food, repeating continually God's name, meditating on Him and the like, on the strength of past habits, and also as it had to be done, not for something. Owing to past habits, her body managed somehow or other to go through them, that was all. But she herself always remained highly intoxicated, as it were. How long, therefore, could the body last in this way? It is a matter of surprise that it continued even for 2 months. Thakur said in 21 days it will go. But for special people, the influence of that intoxication diminished a great deal at the end of 2 months. Consciousness will not go away, but that state will change, state of mind. One cannot retain that. But as she could not see Gopala as before, there came on her an intense eagerness to have the vision repeatedly because they have it. As a result of that, the humor of wind prevailed in her constitution and she felt a great pain within her heart. That wind presses upwards. I will tell some funny thing about it. In the students home in Chennai, one boy came running, pain in the heart, pain in the heart. People are thinking what to do, what to do. With Banji said, give him soda. And when soda was given, gas went out and he became all right. She therefore said to Sri Ramakrishna, owing to the prevalence of the humor of wind, I feel as if my heart is being sawn through. Very painful. The master consoled her and said affectionately, it is not the humor of wind, but the humor of Hari. That means it is not a physical thing for you. Because of that spiritual life, this is what is happening. What will be the support of your life if it goes? It is good that it abides. Please eat something whenever you feel too much pain. So saying, the master fed her with various good things that day. Now another incident. Gopala's mother. Marwadi devotees came to the master. What is Marwadi, you understand? Marwad is a district or portion in Rajasthan. Now the Rajasthani business people, even Brahmins, they are throughout India and abroad also for earning money. And their main business is Saukari. Saukari means lending money and receiving interest thereof. That is their main business outside. And everywhere, in Chennai, I have Saukarpet. In Calcutta, there are so many Marwadis. And before Corona, Belur Math, have you seen that? Near Swamiji's temple, at the bank of Ganges, they assemble, generally on every Sunday. And there they cook and spend in a religious manner. That is there. Now it started from Thakur's time. They used to come to Thakur. Now they come to Belur Math. Just as many of us, men and women, used to go to the master, so anybody from Rajasthan is called Marwadi outside. Though Marwadi is a particular portion in Rajasthan. Many Marwadi men and women also visited him from time to time. They came in a good number of carriages to Dakshineshwar Garden. And after bathing in the Ganga, collecting flowers and performing the worship of Shiva and other deities, assembled under the Panchavati, where they dug a fireplace and cooked various preparations and offered them to the deity. They then gave at first a part of all those things to the master and afterwards to Prasada themselves. Many of them, this is one thing, many of them brought for the master candy, grapes, almonds, guavas, raisins, pistachios, dry dates, bitter leaves, pomegranates, etc. Offered them and bowed down to him. For they were not like most of us. All of them knew that one should not come empty-handed to the hermitages of holy men or the places of deities. And therefore, they would without fail bring something or other with them. But Sri Ramakrishna did not himself take any of these things given by them, with the exception of one or two of the Marwadis. Lakshmi Narayan Marwadi was one. So, one or two Marwadis exception. Thakur has very clear thing. He said, if they give one roll of betel, they join with its 16 desires. May I win the lawsuit in the court? May I recover from my disease? May I make profit in my trade and so on. So that is the other side. And that is common in the business community throughout India. Now, they serve temples, they serve sannyasis, and they feel that if they do that, their business or whatever will continue nicely. And God also gives them happy generally. So that is the custom throughout India, not only Marwadis. But the Marwadis give with too much desire. The master could not accept and eat things given to him with a motive, nor did he give them to the devotees to eat. These are two different things. Why did not give to the devotees? Because the sanskaras will be bad. Why he will not be spoiled? Why did not take? Because God does not take. So two different things you should understand. Thakur does not take because he is God. And he did not allow the devotees to take because sanskaras will trouble them. Now there has to be some exception. And two exceptions we'll find here. Swami Vivekananda and Gopal's mother. The master himself did not eat these things, nor did he give them to the devotees to eat. But sometimes he would eat as sacred food a little of the cooked food, which that offered to the deity, and then brought for him. Because sanctified by prasad. And he would also give it to us to eat. The only person who was thought fit to take the candy, fruits, etc. given by them was Narendranath. The masters, so sadhakas who are jnanis or vairagis or gone beyond everything, that will not be affected. Very clear. Three different things. Devotees should not eat because their mind will be polluted. Narendranath's mind will not be polluted. And Thakur does not accept because God does not accept. The master said, he has the sword of knowledge ever unsheathed with him. He will not be harmed if we take these things. His spiritual insight will remain unimpaired. The master therefore sent these eatables to Narendra's house. He would not refuse from the Marwadis. He does not want to hurt them. They are giving. Master is not taking. Master is sending it to Narendra. The master therefore sent these eatables to Narendra's house through someone or the other of the devotees who was available. He sent them through his nephew Ramlal, the priest of the Kali temple on those days on which no one else was available. If somebody has come from Calcutta, I could not give to Narendra. But otherwise he will send his nephew Ramlal to go and give. One day after his midday meal, the master were told by brother Ramlal said to him, "Well, have you no business in Calcutta?" Thakur is asking him. He spoke thus lest Ramlal should be annoyed to be sent too often with those things. Ramlal, I have no business there at present. But if you ask me, I will of course go. Appears like diplomacy. But it is that Ramlal should not be annoyed. That is the purpose. He should be ready by himself. That is what has happened. Anyway, now so many my experiences cloud in as my Guru's behavior. I will tell one. No, I was doing many works at the same time. And a problem came about the accounts. One of our Swamis suddenly went away to Velurmat. He was doing puja. And the present accountant Swamiji could do puja easily. But then who will do accounts? This matter was unresolved for 7 days. I went to Guruji. I said, is not the obvious solution that he should do puja? Maharaj said, who will do accounts? Then I said, Maharaj, shall I do? Yes, immediately. He said, yes, do. Then I showed my annoyance. Why did you not tell? For 7 days the thing is going on. Why did you not tell that we should do? He said, you are doing so many works, how could I tell? But you yourself are ready? So that is the way. In those days the accounts was terrible because 1970 emergency. Before that, Ramakrishna Mission and Mutt totally exempt from filing income tax returns. But suddenly in emergency, all had to. And rules and regulations have. Anyway, I have no accounts qualification. Sri Ramakrishna, no, I was just asking. You have not gone for a walk to Calcutta for a long time. You may have a desire to go. Why don't you go just once? If you go, please take the money that is there in that tin box and take a carriage on share from Bharatnagar. He said, walk money, just loiter. You will otherwise fall ill on account of the sun. And give Narendra these candy, almonds, etc. and bring me his news. He has not come here for a long time. My mind is extremely eager to have his news. Brother Ramlal said to us, what hesitation, lest I should get annoyed. It is needless to say that Brother Ramlal took those opportunities to come to Calcutta and add to the happiness of the devotees. That is the normal rule. Now, exception. There thus came one day many Marwadi devotees to Dakshineshwar. Much candy, fruits, etc. accumulated that day as usual in the master's room. When Gopala's mother and some other women devotees came unexpectedly to pay a visit to the master. He saw Gopala's mother and came and stood beside her. Beside her. Then while passing his hand all over her body from head to foot, he began to express his love like a child when it meets his mother. Pointing at Gopala's mother's body, he said to all, "This case is filled with Hari only. This body consists of Hari alone." Gopala's mother stood still. She was not at all shrinking, though the master touched her feet. But she was Gopala's mother, child touching the mother. Afterwards, the master brought all the nice things that were there in his room and fed the old lady with them. Whenever Gopala's mother went to Dakshineshwar, the master behaved similarly and fed her. So not one day, always. One day she asked him, "Why do you like so much to feed me, Gopal?" Sri Ramakrishna, "For you fed me so much in the past." Not that Sushni Sag and all that. Gopala's mother, "In the past, when did I feed you?" Sri Ramakrishna, "In a previous life." So she is one of the gopis and Thakur is Krishna. Passing the whole day at Dakshineshwar, Gopala's mother took leave of the master before returning to Kamarati. When the master brought and gave her all the candy given by the Marwadis and asked her to take it with her. Now he is giving her. She needs it for her humor of wind. Gopala's mother said, "Why do you give me so much candy?" Now beautiful expression. Sri Ramakrishna affectionately touching the chin of Gopala's mother. "You were at first molasses." What is molasses, you understand? Jaggery. You then became sugar. And now you have become candy. More and more purification from sugar cane juice. First is that jaggery. Purified becomes sugar. Still more purified becomes candy. Now that you have become candy, eat candy and be happy. That means you have become so much pure that will not pollute you. The master gave Gopala's mother the candy given by the Marwadis. All were surprised when the master gave to Gopala's mother the candy given by the Marwadis. They felt that by the grace of the master, the mind of Gopala's mother could no more be tarnished. Having no other course left open to her, she took all the candy. What else could she do? Gopal would otherwise not cease importuning her. Besides, as long as the body lasted, one required everything. As Gopala's mother used sometimes to say to us, so long as the body lasts, all things, even cumin seeds, fenugreek seeds are necessary. Jeera tuku, methi tuku, like that she said. A very strange state indeed for the body. No one should be told of one's vision. Now, very interesting thing will come. It was a long-standing habit with Gopala's mother to come and tell the master everything she experienced while practicing japa and meditation. For many days he heard, but then he said one should not tell anyone else his or her visions. In that case, visions cease to appear. She advised, one day Gopala's mother said to him, "Why? Those are facts regarding vision of you, of no one else. Should they not be told even to you?" The master replied, "Though they are visions regarding this place, They should not be told even to me. Expression spoils it. Gopala's first verification, then not necessary. Gopala's mother said, indeed, she did not, except on very rare occasions, speak of her visions to anyone since then. A sincere and simple soul as Gopala's mother was, she had an absolute faith in whatever Sri Ramakrishna said. And doubting souls like ourselves, immediately comparison starts. The whole of our lives is spent in testing the truth of his words. Therefore, it did not fall to our lot to translate them into practice and be happy in the enjoyment of the result. Who else could do like that? Nagmash. Swamiji chanted a shloka for him. You write down very important line I am doing. Some people are addressing to the bee. Vayam tatvan veshat hatah tatvan veshat anvesh tatvan veshat hatah madhukara tvam khalu kruti. Kruti means successful life. Swamiji addressed this word to Nagmash. That we went on analyzing, and we are killed for that. Hatha. Vayam tatvan veshad hatha. Oh Madhukar, oh B, you are really successful. Thakur told Nagmash. Nagmash is extremely efficient or expert homeopathy doctor. And Thakur once told that though if the mind goes to that small globules, how it will think of God. Master Nagmash threw his medicine box in the Ganges. Thakur's once experienced during his Kashipur days to eat jamrud. Jamrud, you know, in Belumot it is there. And that was not the season of jamrud. But Nagmasha thought when Thakur has said it will be there. And he served in some gardens. And on the second or third day he got jamrud. And he brought it to Thakur. The master introduced Gopal's mother to Swami Vivekananda. That is background, not tell anybody. One day at this time, Gopala's mother and Narendranath were present at Dakshineshwar. Narendranath had given them a great inclination toward the Brahma Samaj doctrine of a formless God. He had given them a great dislike for so-called idolatry. So-called idolatry, it is not idolatry, Swami himself is. Idolatry is the word introduced by Muslims and Christians towards Hindus. And we also thought we were idolaters. And later on Swamiji understood. And he said that no Hindu is an idolater. We do not pray to stone or to tree to give me this, give me that. We pray to God only. Anyway. So here it is so-called idolatry. For deities, images, etc. But then he had by that time had this conviction that even if people had resort to idols, images, etc., they might reach in time the formless divine residing in all being. The master had a keen sense of humor. On the one hand, there was the very learned, intelligent Narendranath, endowed with all the good qualities, fond of discussions, and devoted to the divine Lord. Devoted is there, but otherwise it is like this. While on the other, there was the poor, indigent Gopala's mother, of simple faith, who hoped to have the grace and vision of God bestowed on her by resorting to his name only, who never had any literary education whatever, and never knew what discussions and argumentations were even for acquiring divine knowledge. The master got them both together and brought about great fun. It's not only fun, huh? He asked Gopala's mother to narrate to Narendra how she first had the vision of the divine Lord in the form of Krishna, and how he had been having his divine play with her since then. So as she said, will that not be harmful, Gopala? Afterwards, assured by the master and dissolved in tears, assured by the master that it will not harm. Thakur has a purpose there. Afterwards, assured by the master and dissolved in tears, she began to narrate in a choked voice from the beginning to the end, because she is getting all those again while telling. From the beginning to the end, the whole story of the sport with her of the divine Lord in the form of Gopala for 2 months since her first vision of him. She narrated how Gopala was on her lap with his head on her shoulder, how she came all the way from Kamarati to Dakshineshwar, how she distinctly saw his 2 purple feet dangling on her chest, how he entered the master's body from time to time, came out again and then came to her, how he was grumbling when he did not get a pillow when going to bed, how he collected wood for cooking, and how naughty he behaved in order to get food. While narrating this event, the old lady was filled with emotions and began to visualize the divine Lord in the form of Gopal. Although Narendranath had an external covering of rigid argumentation and the hope to acquire divine knowledge through that, inwardly he was always full of intense love of God. He could not refrain from shedding tears when he heard of the ecstasy, vision, etc. of the old lady. Again, as she was narrating the story, she artlessly asked Narendranath all along, "My child, you are learned and intelligent. I am miserable and indigent. I know nothing, understand nothing. Please say if these things regarding me are mere imaginations or realities." Narendranath also assured the old lady every time and said, consoling her, "Mother, what you have seen are all true." What is the message? Experience, spiritual, is always true. What we have seen, he has not imagined. That he understands. So all arguments are set at naught in front of experiences. So Swamiji is telling what we have seen is true. The reason why Gopala's mother questioned Narendranath about it so anxiously was perhaps that she was not then having the vision of Gopala continuously as before. So doubt was coming. And Narendranath is expert and this and that, so he is asking. And Naren said, what we have seen is true. Om Sarvadharma Stapakasvam Sarvadharma Swarupaka Acharyanam Mahacharyo Ramakrishnaya Te Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ramakrishna Leelaprasanga.